of everything I made for 10 years. As of right now, I owe just over $72,000. 3 sons, actually 4 sons when this started. My oldest son was killed in a car accident in 2006. That was 2 years after the divorce. Last time I was in court was 2007, early 2008. My second son was a month away from graduating, was already 18. And at that point in time, I was trying to get some adjustments made, get my license back after 3 years of not having it, get spousal support stopped a year after she remarried, and getting child support adjusted, given the fact that one son was gone and the other was going to be graduating. They gave me my license back. They stopped the spousal support, not retroactively, and said nothing about child support. Zero. Nothing. That was the last time I was in court. I fight for my sons right now. I got 3 boys left, young men, actually. I don't want them to have to go through one millionth of what I've gone through and still am going through at this point. I actually got hooked up, I was looking for a father's rights group, men's rights, whatever, 11 years ago. That was back when MySpace was big. Facebook was not much of anything.
What was that place called that you were talking about?
MySpace.
Oh, okay.
There was a lot of reference material and stuff on the internet back then, but there was no group, no support. It was, you're pretty much on your own and individual. I was an IT manager, so I knew computers, I knew the internet, all that kind of stuff, and there just wasn't anything. Got re-involved again last year. Actually, there's a gentleman that works over here in this other building for the house that worked for me for a little while, and I was chatting back and forth with him. He pointed me to a Yahoo group, Minnesota Family Law Reform. That's where I got hooked up with Charlie Hurd. Wasn't much going on with that group. They're kind of a behind the scenes, talk to the legislators, maybe try and change some laws, that kind of stuff. Kept looking, and I found the Father's Rights Movement, I want to say July or August of last year. Tom Fiddler invited me to be an admin on the national page in September, and the rest is kind of history at this point. We were at 6,000 at that point. And it just kept going and going and going. By the end of the year, we hit 10. So it took us, September, October, November, December. It took us 3.5 months to go from 6 to 10. And then it only took a month and a half to go from 10 to 14. And the next thing I know, we were at 20. And now we should be hitting 24,000, I think, real shortly here on the national page. Tom and Joe are in D.C. today. Definitely want to wish them all happiness and hope out there. Last I heard this morning, they had Fox National News on site. Divorce Corp is filming out there. Trying to think what else is going on. NBC is in New Jersey. Cool. California's got a big rally. Gentleman you just heard, Philly Slim, he is our Colorado leader. Big advocate for us out there.
Nick Larson is here.
Nick Larson. There. Tom said he pointed you to Josh, so I chatted with him the other night. Tom, if you don't know, is not a real get up and speak kind of person. Chatted with him. He was like an hour away from having to leave to get on the plane to go to D.C. the other night when him and I were chatting.
Yeah, you can go through.
And I don't remember what else. Something about, you think they're going to want me to talk? And it's like, Tom, come on. Anyway, I told him, it doesn't have to be long. Just get up there and say something. Joe, I know, is coming from San Diego, going to D.C. Whole bunch of people are heading out that direction. That's cool. Minnesota, Wisconsin, we got Iowa, South Dakota. We got North Dakota. We got everybody. I know we got Canada, so North Dakota is the only other one.
Colorado's right behind us.
I know we got Nebraska.
Delaware, because I have their shirt.
Yep, Delaware is cool.
The one on the left is actually the Nationals shirt.
Listen to the
Just got that the other day from Joe.
today on the radio there.
Cool.
I'll get
There's so many states. One of the things I kind of try and do on the national page too is I go out there and I troll. I just look all over the place, and I find it's funny when some of the mimes I've created all of a sudden turn out translated into Spanish for Ecuador.
Right.
I mean, that's a kick, you know. I saw one a few months ago that was translated into Greek. You know, it's in Greece, and
I lost them.
so you know there's a reach to the movement, and it's not just here. It's not just on these steps. It's every state. It's a lot of countries out there in the world. UK is bad. Australia is bad. India is really bad right now, with a lot of false accusations going on over there. I found one the other day was Tunisia. It was a mime, you know, something about not a sperm donor, not an alimony dowry or something. You know, just wanted to spend time, you know, just a dad and kids picture, and so it's cool. It's Israel's another one we found not too long ago. That was, you know, sharing our mimes and that kind of stuff, and they had a Father's Rights event I think planned today too. So it's cool. Tom posted something out there a couple days ago, something about the, you know, the movement's got feet, and it does. And this is just a start. What do we got? 40, 30, 40 something here today. Wisconsin had 50. I know they were a little disappointed that they only had 50, but it's like 50 is better than 5. You know, 2 is better than 1. 4 is better than 2. We're gonna keep at it. Keep spreading the message. Keep spreading the word, and it will grow.
I feel like
of you haven't gone through already or feel. I listen to people, how much money they've spent going through courts. I spent my money trying to save my marriage, trying to facilitate change with my wife. It didn't work. I've been without a lawyer for 3 years and have been fighting going to court because every time I do, I lose. The money aspect is unbelievable, and going into court and losing all the time is so demeaning, especially when all you're asking for is access to your children. So this is about access. This is about fathers wanting to be with their children on an equal basis as their mother. It has nothing to do with demeaning motherhood. It has nothing to do with I have more rights than somebody else. It's equal rights. When you stop to think of it, or at least when I stop to think of it, parenthood, in my mind, comes from the hand of God, not the generosity of state. And to me, that's the most important thing that we got to remember, or at least I need to remember. God gave me the opportunity to have children. I don't believe the state or anybody else should take them away unless I did some things that forced that change to happen, and I did not. And most of you here today, I believe you probably didn't either. So all you want is your children to have access to you so they can have the benefit of a father in their lives. And that's what it's all about. Just asking people to understand or look at parents as shared parenting. You can call it shared parenting, co-parenting. You walk into court one day as a full-time father, you walk out the same day as a part-time father. And that, to me, is reprehensible. So, in my way of thinking, or at least what I'm going through as a father, is trying to show my kids that I'm there for them regardless of the system. Regardless of the struggle that I have to put up with, regardless of how many meetings I have to go to, how many times I have to show up to show them that I'm in their lives, how many letters I have to write them, how many cards I have to send them, to let them know that their father, in spite of or despite anybody else, is not going to abandon them. And that's what it's all about to me. And that's probably what it's all about to you, is just to stay in their lives, to make sure that they, in the long run, don't feel abandoned. So thank you for listening, and maybe we can do better in the future. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Troy Bonkowski. I haven't seen my kids for a year and a half. It's been quite a road. 2.5 years ago, my ex-wife accused me of child abuse. I was just wrestling with all 3 of my kids and accidentally hit my autistic son in the face. And she brought that to court against me, and the court found that there was no evidence of that, of abuse. But what amazes me is that the court system still lets her and her attorney bring up those false abuse allegations. I don't understand it. I mean, Mark Dayton, was it last week? He talked about how many laws they cleaned up off the books and how obsolete they were, and he still left that law intact, that the ex-spouse can keep bringing up false abuse allegations. And, you know, there's nothing you can do. I mean, it's on the books, and we just got to work to get it off. But it's been, the past year I've been in court, and I really haven't gotten anywhere. Just been disrespected by the judge, the county clerk, the court clerk, and it's just, you know, I finally see enough money I can get an attorney, but I don't want to. It's a waste of money, and but it's the only option I have now. So, you know, I'm impressed with the growth of this organization. I think that it's good for support, networking, and we can get involved with, you know, legislation and the politicians and the judges. So I'm good. I know I'm glad to see everybody here, and I appreciate the time you took to hear me. Thank you.
My name is Nick Rofert. I'm from Fairmont, Minnesota. I've been dealing with the custody stuff and family law for almost 10 years now. I have a 13-year-old daughter and a 12-year-old son. I've been married almost 7 years now, and Sheila, my wife, has been along with me the whole time. Don't really know what to touch on because I've been through it all the way from the financial part of not having nothing and getting rid of everything just to try to fight to have more time with my kids. It started off, I guess, with me not having a father myself. I spent my whole teenage life in and out of incarcerations because I was one of the kind of people that had to learn himself. Mom was always working, didn't have time to make sure I was doing what I was supposed to be doing. And throughout that time, growing up, I kind of, you know, learned from my mistakes, trying to figure out what I was doing wrong and what was happening. And I think the biggest part would have been if I would have had a father in my life to help out, you know, that just had another person there when, you know, my mom was working all the time. So there, I told myself I would never put any of my children, if I ever had children, through that situation. It just, you know, all the confusion, the questions I had growing up, I just knew that no way my kids would ever have to deal with that. I had kids young, I was about 18 years old when I had my daughter. The mom and I wasn't getting along very well. We weren't together. It was just something that happened. But when she told me 3 weeks after she was pregnant, that was when I thought I had to lock it down, you know. I had to step up, be that dad that I always told everybody that, you know, that's how you're supposed to be. Well, after she was born, she ended up getting pregnant with my son only 11 months later. He was there. And after that, I started realizing that life wasn't going to be the way it was meant to be if I was with her, because it just wasn't working. There was a lot of stuff going on where I wasn't happy, the whole family wasn't happy. So I thought I was going to do something that I always said I wouldn't do, and walked away from that. And you know, I might have to find myself so my kids can know the real me. And never in a million years would I have thought that the mother that I thought I knew she wasn't. As soon as I left, the whole other side of her that was kind of there came all the way out. Didn't see my kids for almost 3 months after the split. And then when I did see her, it was under her terms all the time. I was always having to jump through hoops and hurdles. And at the time, I thought that was what I needed to do. I just wanted to see my kids, thought that was the most important thing. And started to get to the point where it was getting to be an inconvenience. Like, it was pretty much figured out it was all about what she wanted. It wasn't about what my kids wanted, what I wanted, because in all actuality, it ain't about what the parents want. You know, look and see what the kids are wanting, what they're asking. And when the kids hit about 7, 8 years old, I started realizing that they wanted that more time with me. And that's when we finally buckled down and got the lawyer, did everything we were supposed to do, and come to find out that it wasn't that simple. Even though the kids were asking for that more time and they wanted that time, nobody wanted to listen to them. So that's why I'm here today. It's still going on. I'm still fighting to get that custody from them, or for them.
False allegations.
It's just a never-ending battle. Starting to see how crooked the system is when, I don't know, they have E&Es and all other kinds of media. It's just pretty much a booster, if you ask me, to let them know that what they're doing is okay, to keep doing what they're doing to the children. More money here, more money there, and they just drag it out and drag it out. But the biggest part is that we can't ever let them know that we're not going to give up, we're not going to stop. I mean, I have to go visit my kids at school. I got to take my lunch breaks to go see them, just to see them that little bit of time. The nice part is my kids are getting old enough now that they come find me when I get off of work. Which, I mean, they shouldn't have to do that. They shouldn't have to sneak around behind their mom's back in fear that they're going to get caught seeing me or visiting with me. And I know that, I mean, there's never been any allegations of abuse, nothing like that. It's just, she just feels that I'm not fit to be a parent due to my past and the way I grew up. But I'm glad to see everybody here. Again, I'm thankful for this page, finding other people. It's 10 years, even though I have my wife. It feels like I'm by myself and nobody understands. You're just like, wow, I can't believe people can't see what's really going on here. How is this even happening? You know, and it's always, it's all about the best interest of the children. It's about the best interest of the children, and then you're sitting there like, well, what the heck is going on then? You know, and having something like this and talking to other people and knowing that I'm not the only one going through this, and there's other people that are willing to talk to and share is great. Josh and the rest of you guys running this page, good job. I wish I was smart enough to help y'all out with that, but thanks for coming, and I hope to get to meet some more of you guys.
Things happen.
That's what we're fighting. We're fighting this system. Divorce Corp calls it a $50 billion a year system. And I don't think that even considers the amount of money flowing through child support. $50 billion. I'm trying to think. The amount of money that the states divide the incentive money, is that $500 billion? I want to say it's 500. It's either 500 million or 500 billion. I don't remember which. Either way, I think it's got to be. It's almost. I don't know. It's one or the other. 500 million, let's say. You know, that's $500 billion they're divvying up every year in incentive payments based on their paternity, establishing paternity, and that kind of stuff. Texas, I think, as of last fall, I saw they collected $3 billion in a year in child support. That's the kind of money we're talking about. And like Josh says, we can't afford a billboard. You know, they're not too worried yet, but they will be.